This is part 4 of my series on the truths about gold that are hidden in plain sight. If you haven't watched the first 3 parts, I recommend that you go back and do so before watching this video. I will leave links to those videos in the video description. Today I'm going to talk about something that on the surface looks very complicated, but in reality is quite simple. I'm going to go more into detail into the mechanics of gold lending and discuss forwards and swaps. And you will learn one of the primary reasons why many more paper transactions exist than metal that backs them. Remember this diagram from the World Gold Council? It depicts the gold supply chain. Let's focus on the gold miner. The gold mining company wants to borrow gold. Wait, Bullion P, you've got that wrong. The gold mine has plenty of gold. Why would they want to borrow gold? Aha, I say. That is the critical reason, or the critical question to understanding the whole paper gold system. It was a very smart question that you just asked. Okay, consider what a gold mine is in the business of doing. It is in the business of exploring for gold deposits, proving those deposits, pulling the ore out of the ground, pulverizing the ore, chemically extracting the very tiny amounts of gold metal from the ore, and melting the extracted gold to form doré bars to transport to the gold refiner for purification. They do all this to generate a paper profit. Yes, that's right. They are in the business of turning gold into paper. But it takes time to turn an identified deposit in the ground into a doré bar, and it takes a lot of cash. So let's pretend a mining company can talk like a person. The gold mining company says, I know a rich deposit of gold that I can mine to generate lots of cash. But it will take me 10 years to produce the gold, and I need cash now to pay for expenses. I wish there was a way that I could borrow some gold and sell it now. That way I'd have plenty of cash to get started. In walks the bullion banker. Ever savvy and looking to make a deal, he says, I can lend you gold for 10 years. I know that your shareholders cannot tolerate the risk of metal price fluctuations, so we'll arrange a swap of gold for currency at 2 different points in time. I will buy 1 million ounces of gold from you in 3,650 days for $1,770 per ounce. I will sell you 1 million ounces of gold today for $1,700 per ounce. You'll then have the gold to sell now and can pay me when your mine comes online. I have a client interested in buying the gold, so if you like, I can sell it for you right now for a 0.1% fee, cash on the barrelhead. Deal, says our eager mining company executive. And now here's where the magic happens. The bullion banker goes to one of his banking clients with a proposal. He says, I have an interesting proposition for you. You have lots of gold on deposit with us in our vault. How would you like to earn interest on 1 million ounces of it for loaning it out for 10 years instead of it just sitting there collecting dust? His client's interest is piqued. He then continues, I have a client who is a producer and needs to borrow gold. I will buy your gold from you now at $1,700 per ounce, and in 3,650 days I will sell you back 1 million ounces of your gold for $1,780 per ounce. In the meantime, I will invest your US dollar credit balance at 2% interest and credit your account with the interest. Payment will be secured via a title to interest in the mine. In the end, you will have your 1 million ounces of gold plus $340 million in interest. And so the deal is struck. Let's take a look at what just happened here. The mining company sold their future gold to the bullion bank via a forward contract. The price in US dollars was agreed upon ahead of time, and so this is a gold-dollar swap. This is an agreement to be settled at the future date. The mining company then bought present gold from the bank for an agreed-upon US dollar price. The bullion bank simultaneously bought the client's gold on deposit in exchange for currency, which was subsequently invested in the mining company's debt. Of course, the interest given to the owner of the capital is less than the interest charged on the loan, which is what banks generally do to make money. The bullion bank agreed to sell the gold back to the client at a future date at an agreed-upon dollar price, another US dollar swap. The Bullion Bank also arranged for the sale of the miner's gold to one of its clients. I'm leaving out the details of that transaction for simplicity, but that client could have been a fabricator, or it could have been another wealthy party interested in buying gold for cash. Maybe it was another oil interest, or maybe a central bank of one of the world's surplus countries. So before we discuss how each party made out in this deal, notice that there were actually 5 transactions involving gold. There were several buy and sell agreements between the various parties, with a couple of different settlement dates. OTC contracts are generated during this process. In other words, as a result of the creation of credit to fund the mining industry, the very fact that the mining industry pledged to sell gold back for dollars at a later date created gold that doesn't exist yet. Another important thing happened here. You'll notice that the mining company has been insulated from fluctuations in the dollar price of gold. The mine can engage in financed long-term projects and still be profitable, even if the price of gold declines significantly. Of course, the investors are out the upside if the gold price for 1 million ounces worth of production increases significantly. But hey, mines are in the business of generating a paper profit. That's what most of the shareholders demand, after all. The Bullion Bank client can lend out his gold at interest and is mostly insulated from inflation in the dollar. After all, he will get his 1 million ounces of gold back. It is only the real value of the interest that is in question. Now, there are 2 main chinks in the armor. The first is the ability of the mine to supply future gold. If the mine fails, then someone is going to eat that loss. The second is the ability of the mine to pay the interest, but that is the subject for another time. This short video is about forwards and swaps. So now let's see how each party made out. The miner borrowed gold and subsequently sold it for cash. The interest on the principal balance was $51.3 million per year, which over 10 years is $513 million. He needs to pay back 1 million ounces of gold after 10 years, but will receive $1,770 million for it. This will more than pay off the principal balance of $1,710 million, leaving him with $60 million left over. So when all is said and done, the miner will have to repay the 1 million ounce gold loan plus $453 million cash, but it will have an operational business generating more profit at the end of 10 years. The Bullion Bank client will earn $340 million in cash interest over the 10-year life of the loan. In the end, he will buy back his gold, but the effect of contango will somewhat reduce the benefit of his gold loan. He will be left with a $260 million profit, but will still have 1 million ounces of gold. The Bullion Bank itself does quite well, especially considering that it did not take a single risk with its own capital. It earned $10 million on the spot differential on day 0, and another $10 million at the end of the loan from the bid-ask spread at that time too. This is the benefit that goes to the bank for it being a market maker. Then, in addition, the bank will earn $173 million in interest costs because the bank has invested the money on its client's behalf and is taking a cut of the profit. The net result is that the Bullion Bank earns $193 million in cash profit. Okay, so this was about as simple as I could make it. In fact, chances are I made it too simple and left out important details, but I thought it was important to understand how the system works on a very high level. Does this system create unbacked paper gold claims? Yes, but only because it is facilitating the development of mines, which is necessary to generate future gold. The process is complex, and there are many transactions involved, but when you understand the motives of the players, all of the paper games begin to make sense. It also explains how JPMorgan can go for hundreds of days without a single trading loss on their metals derivatives books. They aren't speculating. They are lending, and they are making a market. This is part 4 of my series.